Hello and welcome to BBC News. Let us start with that breaking news of the last couple of minutes. The man who stabbed the novelist Salman Rushdie has just been sentenced to 25 years in prison. Hadi Matar attacked Mr. Rushdie on a New York lecture stage back in 2022. In total, he stabbed Rushdie 15 times in the head, neck and torso, and it resulted in the novelist losing his eye. He is now partially blind. Let me just put the pictures of Salman Rushdie onto the screen and remind you of the background. This, of course, before that attack, and it was on August the 12th, 2022. He was on stage, as I was saying, and then Hadi Matar rushed the stage and started to attack Salman Rushdie. He stabbed him multiple times around the face, the neck. He blinded him in one eye. We will play just a clip from Salman Rushdie talking to the BBC in a moment or two, but eventually Matar was tackled by bystanders. The trial itself was back in February. That's when he was found guilty. We've had sentencing in the last few minutes, but he was found guilty in February. And at the time, the prosecution had outlined the case. There was an actual video of the attack itself. The defence extraordinarily said that the prosecution had failed to prove that Matar intended to kill Rushdie. They characterised it as a chaotic, noisy outburst that was rejected by the jury. They took simply 2 hours to return their verdict of guilty of attempted murder, second-degree attempted murder. So we waited for sentencing. That has come. Let me go through the details of the sentence. So it's 25 years plus 5 years post-release supervision. And for the assault, there was 7 years plus 3 years post-release, and the sentence is to run concurrently. Henry Rees was the moderator on stage. He was also injured and wounded in the attack, and that is part of today's sentencing. It was an absolutely horrific attack. Salman Rushdie thought he was going to die. He's written about it. He's given interviews about it. We'll play you the one he did with the BBC in a moment or two, but talked in those moments that he was surrounded by a pool of blood and he thought those were going to be his final moments. He thought he was going to die as a result of his injuries. As I say, only a few months ago, he talked to the BBC's Alan Yentob, and he described the moments of the attack. And I should just warn you, the description is very graphic. So if you don't want to hear it, perhaps it's time to look away for a few moments. But let's just play what Salman Rushdie said to Alan Yentob.
I actually thought he'd punched me very hard. I didn't realise there was a knife in his hand. And then I saw the blood and I realised there was a weapon. And then he just started, I think he was just slashing wildly at everything. So there was a very big slash here across my neck, as well as the stab wound here. And there were wounds down the middle of my torso, is 1, 2, 3, like that. And there are 2 on the side over here. And then there was the wound in my eye, which was quite deep. It looked terrible. I mean, it was very distended, swollen, and it's kind of hanging out of my face, sitting on my cheek like a soft-boiled egg, you know, and blind.
As I say, a really graphic account. Salman Rushdie talking only a few months ago to the BBC. Let's go straight to our North America correspondent, Jake Wan, who's following this story. And as you got a sense there, and everyone will remember if they've seen the video, this was a horrific, horrific attack, wasn't it?
A horrific attack, and the 25 years in prison as well as 7 years for the assault, which will be served concurrently. So he will be serving 25 years. Now, this is the maximum sentence that a second-degree murder as well as an assault can bring. So the judge found that this was obviously necessary. The prosecution had painted this picture during the trial of a man who was radicalized. He had spoken to his father, who was still in Lebanon. He's a man who subscribed to Hezbollah's ideology, which in the United States they see as a terrorist organization. This is the picture that the prosecution had been painting. That he had tried to send money to Hezbollah, and that he believed that the organization still wanted the death of the author. Now, this book, Satanic Verses, was published years before this man was even born. He's in his late 20s now. The book was published, more than 35 years ago. And he believed that the decree to kill Mr. Rushdie was still valid, and then he saw this tweet, and he decided that he's going to go to this speaking event and stab him. Now, his defense had argued that it was not a premeditated murder, that it was not his intent to kill Mr. Rushdie, that the fact that there was no guns or there were no bombs, that it was simply a knife that Matar had brought was a sign that it was not, that it was not murder that was in his mind. But obviously the jury did not buy that, and they reached a conclusion pretty quickly, only after 2 hours, and reached a verdict that he is guilty.
It was interesting because during the trial, a trauma surgeon actually gave details and actually made the point that Rushdie probably would have died without the immediate medical intervention and assistance he got at the time.
Certainly. I mean, he was stabbed 15 times, including in the neck, in the face, and the stomach. And without the quick intervention, he surely would have died. And he described in graphic detail that you just heard. And he said, there was a pool of blood that was creating a lake under him. And he felt that this was the moment. Mr. Rushdie, this is not the first time that he was under threat, obviously. After the publication of the book, there was an immediate kind of outrage by some of the people in the Muslim world. They were outraged by this book, and the supreme religious leader in Iran called for his death. And apparently Mr. Rushdie was also on the Al-Qaeda's hit list. So he had to go into hiding for many years, and only in recent years when Iran issued saying that, they're no longer actively seeking for his death, that he started making these public appearances, feeling that he was now safe enough. But apparently that was not true.
A final thought, because I read that federal charges are still outstanding. Is that right?
That's correct. Now, Matar is facing 3 other federal charges. Now, this trial was on the state level. Now, the federal trial is trying to determine whether Matar had sent material support to Hezbollah, or had attempted to send material to Hezbollah, as well as this attempted killing, which the federal prosecutors see as an act of terrorism that transcends national bounds. So he's facing additional charges, which may carry additional prison sentence. So it may be many years before Matar sees the light.
Jake Kwan there in Washington, thanks very much for the latest on that breaking story, the sentencing just happening in the last 10-15 minutes with that man, Hadi Matar, sentenced to 25 years in prison.